Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If you're wondering why we're playing World Tournament, because we're doing an old school style of video right now. And I want to talk about the hype around the 8th anniversary. I'm not sure what I'm going to call the video, so basically anything along the lines of that. But I thought, why not do an old school style video where we have something to talk about? You turn on the video, or you start recording, you start talking while you're playing the game, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. And that is why I'm playing World Tournament while I do this. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I've heard it a lot on the timeline. I've heard it in a few streams when I was streaming consistently, which, by the way, if you do want to see me stream, link in the description down below. And I've seen it pop up a little bit in the comments as well, and that is a lot of people not being as hyped as they were before, or not being too hyped for the 8th anniversary on global. So basically the main purpose of this video is to just kind of, again, like the other day, start a discussion. Why? You know, if you are one of these people, let me know down in the comments. Are you excited for the anniversary? If so, let me know. If you're not, let me know. Start a discussion. Let's see what kind of the overall response is. And just kind of let me know your reasons. But while we do that, and talk about some of the things, maybe, you know, some of the factors as to why, you know, some people may not be as excited, I'm going to talk about me personally first. And, you know, I don't fall into that category of I'm not excited for the anniversary. I am excited. Am I as excited for this anniversary as I was prior? Or to last year's anniversary? No. Am I as excited for this anniversary? That's kind of really annoying. Am I as excited for this anniversary as I was, say, as I would usually be? And the honest answer is no. And that's not because I don't like Dokkan anymore. I mean, I'm still making content on it. I'm still going to play during the anniversary. I still want to summon for the units. You know, I really want the new LRSJ4 Goku that's dropped for Tanabata. You know, it's none of those things. It's not like I don't enjoy playing Dokkan anymore. It's not like I'm bored of it. It's not like I'm being like, oh, it's fell off. It's Dokkan's dead. No, Dokkan's fine. Dokkan is fine. Just like every single year, Dokkan's gonna have ups and downs. That's just the way it goes. You know, some releases are gonna be more hype for you. Some releases aren't. Some are gonna kind of fall flat. That's just typical way the Dokkan typically goes. Now, from what I've kind of concluded myself, the reason why I'm not as excited as I typically am for an anniversary is, and I think I briefly mentioned it in a video, I'm not sure which one, but I'm pretty sure I briefly mentioned it, is it's just where I am. I was going to say it's growing up, but I mean we're still all growing up, but you know, not in that sense when you're like a kid becoming an adult, but it's just something that's changed over time, and it's something that can also easily change back. You know, typically when it comes to playing a game, unless you're like heavily involved, like locked in all the time, non-stop, you know, we all have that game, and Dokkan probably for years has been that game for a lot of us. But there's always that game that no matter how much you're locked into it, depending on kind of any given factor, it doesn't actually have to be anything specific, just any given time, the amount you're locked in, the amount you're playing it, the amount you're enjoying it varies. It's just as simple as that. You know, no matter what game it is, you know, back when I used to bang FIFA, bang Call of Duty, you know, Apex, Fortnite, you know, some of you may play League, Valorant, anything like that, there are going to be down periods where you're not as locked in as you were before. You're not enjoying it as you were before. Maybe you're playing too much. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the game isn't for you anymore. Maybe stuff's just going on in life where you don't have time for it. As I said, maybe you're burnt out. You know, it could be any number of things. And with Dokkan, as I said, it's not like I'm out of Dokkan. It's not like Dokkan's slowly dying for me. It's not like Dokkan is dying itself. Me personally, I haven't really been playing as many games. You know, I'm not, I think I'd call myself a gamer, like very loosely. Like I play games, but I'm never like a gamer. you know, I have my moments, and that's what I mean. I have my moments with kind of any game I'm locked into. Unite. 2 weeks ago, I started playing Spider-Man Remastered. Now, I absolutely adore Spider-Man PS4, and I haven't played Miles Morales yet, so I was like, oh, you know, let me replay the first one, because I've always actually wanted to replay it. I would love to play it as if I'd never played it again, but I've always wanted to replay it and play Miles Morales before the second one now drops, which we know now comes out on like what, 21st of October. And I was like, oh, you know, there's the remastered one. I can now actually buy it separately. Let me pick that up for like an extra £5 upgrade. And I was locked in. I was playing it non-stop. I was doing all the side stuff again. Like, I was locked in. I think I got all the side activity landmarks done like within the first like hour, 2 hours. Like, I was doing them all straight away. I started doing all like the Fisk like hideouts or locations straight away. I even did, what was the other thing? The backpacks. There's like 50 something of those. I've done them like immediately. I was locked in. And I've done like all the research stations I could do till I needed like one of the web gadget upgrades. Got that, went straight back, finished them. Done all the Black Cat side activities, like the stakeouts. And yeah, I think I played the game for like consistently for almost 2 weeks, and I haven't touched it since. For almost a week. So that's just kind of where I'm at. I haven't really been playing anything either. Like, I have games to play. I've had games that I've been playing. I have games I've started, and all of them have just kind of dropped off for me. I don't mean dropped off in terms of like, oh, these games are bad or I've got bored. I just haven't been in the mood or the mindset or locked in to be like, yeah, I'm playing this. Like, you know, I don't play FIFA how I used to, but clubs was locked into that with the boys. It's a good social, it's a laugh, you know, constantly like cussing each other, it's jokes. I haven't played that for like months. There's also the likes of Resident Evil 4, which I was streaming on. I have finished the game, but I was playing a lot of mercenaries, you know, like doing extra run-throughs. And I was actually doing like a challenge run-through. I was enjoying it a hell of a lot. I was streaming a lot. Just haven't gone back to that in months. In terms of other stuff, was there anything else I was playing apart from Spider-Man and those two things? I was playing Apex quite a bit here and there. You know, I was quite locked into that. You know, that kind of varies a lot for me as well, which typically playing games and gaming can do. It can vary, which is kind of one of my main points. But yeah, you know, in terms of Apex, I haven't played that in a hot minute either. Like, I'm just not really playing games. Like, for the last month or so with Dokkan, just because there hasn't been a lot for me to do, I hop on, do what I need to do. You know, Dokkan's not a game you need to be playing for like 4, 6, 8 hours anyway. So, you know, it's kind of irrelevant for Dokkan. I know some of you play it longer than others, which Dokkan's not meant to be played like that. But if you can play it like that and find ways for you to play it for that long and find and kind of resource as much content as you can for yourself, by all means do that. And if you're like me, where there's not a whole lot going on, you know, which there hasn't been for a couple months, you hop in, you get your login bonus. Sometimes I've actually forgot to get my login bonus, but I'm at that point where I'm like, it's really not the end of the world if I don't get my login bonus. Like, it really doesn't change that much. Like, I miss out on like 2 stones. Yeah, it'd be nice, but it's not that deep. It's not the end of the world. We can move. But, you know, I'd hop on, get my login bonus. You know, sometimes I may miss it, but hop on, do the content that is there, like the daily growth stuff, the guru event. Definitely was doing that. Doing like all the missions for the countdown missions for the anniversary, to get the badges, to get the 8th anniversary tickets, all that stuff. Been doing that a lot more recently. You know, more often than not, but still again missing data in there where I'm doing link leveling. You know, and then hop off. Obviously, that's going to change when the anniversary hits because actual content to do. You know, there's going to be new units. We're going to summon for those. That's videos within itself. Hopefully, we pull them. That's even more reason to play the game because I want to use the new units. We use them in Red Zone. We do the new Shadow Dragon event. We then start using units in and against the Shadow Dragon event. You know, I'm going to be playing a hell of a lot more. But for the most part in Dokkan, I've just been hopping on and hopping off doing what I need to do, which is probably like a maximum of like an hour, not even a day. And that's just been kind of where I've been with gaming recently as well. Like I said, I haven't been locked into playing anything. So that's personally for me why I haven't been or not as excited for the anniversary. That's probably one of the factors. The other one is just, as a Dokkan's not falling off for me or anything. It's just, it's one of those things of just kind of like, don't get me wrong, there's some hype there, there's some excitement there, there's just not as much as there typically is. And you know, there's definitely not as much as there was last year. Like, I think a lot of people keep comparing it to last year as well, and I'm like, can't really do that, because the 7th anniversary is a novelty. Like, you know, yes, we get anniversaries every year, but the 7th anniversary was done in the way it was done. It had things happen the way it happened, and was that good for a reason, because it was the 7th anniversary, because it was a novelty, because it was, you know, the big 7th anniversary. You know, 7 has a lot of, you know, meaning and resemblance in Dragon Ball. So comparing it to that and being like, oh, it's not as good as that, so I'm not as hyped, I don't think it's really fair to say. I mean, you know, by all means, it's justified for you as like an individual, but it was never going to be as good as the 7th anniversary in general, just because of how big of an event the 7th anniversary was, if that makes sense. But yeah, in terms of me, it's not that I'm not excited, it's just I haven't really been locked into gaming at all. I haven't really been doing that much at all. I don't know, I'm kind of just floating. We're kind of just floating. As I said, it will pick back up. You know, we all have the moments where we're locked into a game 1 minute, the next minute we're kind of, it's on the back seat, then you're locked back in, or like you're playing here and there. It's gonna happen, right? And it's gonna happen with Dokkan, which is a live service game where we go from like all the content from the anniversary or like a major celebration like Golden Week to then like a standard Dokkan Fest, and especially if you don't pull the new unit. But yeah, that's kind of why it's not as exciting as for me. And also with, you know, Dokkan, I don't know, it's kind of got to, I'm kind of at a point where I'm like 7 years is a long time to be playing one game. So of course it's gonna kind of, my interest levels are gonna kind of decrease a little bit. I said 7 years is a long time. I've said this before as well, 5-6 years, it's a long time to be playing one game. I said it doesn't mean I'm gonna put the game down anytime soon, it doesn't mean I'm not interested anymore, it doesn't mean I don't care, it doesn't mean any of those things. It's just, you know, I'm not as excited as I would typically be years prior, because my interest levels have slightly dropped. Like, I'm still interested in the game, but they've just decreased ever so slightly, where I'm like, yeah, cool, the anniversary's coming. Like, I'm hyped, I'm excited, but I'm not like, oh man, yeah, can't wait, da 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 da. Do you know what I mean? That makes sense. I said 7 years is a long time to be playing one game. That makes sense. So that's kind of my reasons personally why I'm not as hyped for the anniversary. They're not on the same level as what I've seen on the timeline. I've seen people say, you know, from like the general consensus. Like, I'm still hyped, just not as much as I usually would. In terms of what I've seen a lot of people say it. I haven't really seen much reasoning. I mean, the reason why you may not be as invested or as excited for the anniversary is, again, maybe you've just kind of grown. Maybe Dokkan just kind of doesn't do it for you as it used to. I'm not saying you're completely like done with Dokkan. Dokkan's dead to you now. Like, you know, stop playing. You know, some of you may be on that extreme end and like maybe it's time you put Dokkan down, or maybe it's time you don't play Dokkan as much. Maybe, as I said, maybe you've grown. Maybe you are on the extreme end of it. But then, as I said, maybe I said you've just naturally grown and Dokkan doesn't hit the same way as it used to. And that doesn't mean Dokkan's fell off. That doesn't mean Dokkan's dying. That doesn't mean Dokkan's dead. Just you've grown. You've grown. You know, I played FIFA for years. I played like full on locked in for FIFA, into FIFA since FIFA 11. FIFA 11, FIFA 12. Stopped playing at FIFA 21. Bearing in mind, it was a FIFA's dude who like hates shit. Right? Don't get me wrong. But like, after like what, 10-11 years of consistently playing FIFA, I'm like, yeah, I'm putting the game down, and I'll play it here and there when the game hops on like EA Play. So maybe you just reached that point. You know, maybe you're not as hyped for the anniversary because you're not as locked into Dokkan, because again, we haven't really had much to do on global. That could be another reason, and that happens every year. You know, we have Saiyan Day joint with JP. Everything's new, everything's fresh. The same day with Golden Week, or the same thing with Golden Week as well. You know, everything's hype, everything's new. And then there's kind of like this little down period for like 2 to 3 months where it's like we all know the anniversary is coming, right? So there's not much to do. Everyone's kind of locked in, saving their stones. Everyone's waiting until the anniversary hits. It could just simply be that, and then once the anniversary comes, or once like the anniversary is near, your hype levels might typically rise. It's like when you're a kid at Christmas. You know, October, you're a bit like, oh, Christmas is in like a month or two. November, Christmas is next month. That last week when you're a kid, when Christmas is coming, you're gassed. You're like, oh my god, I cannot wait. I wonder what I'm getting. It could simply be that. The other thing could be is, in terms of why you're not as hyped for the anniversary, could simply just be that you know what's coming. Now, the reason why, to me, that's probably not as likely is, you know, it's been that way for years. Global has always had global hindsight to know what we're getting in the anniversary. But it could be that. Maybe that small dopamine rush of being like, oh my god, the anniversary, what's coming? The new anniversary units are so hyped. Da, 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 da. Maybe you just don't have that because you know what's coming, and then maybe combined with some other stuff, maybe it just kind of all compiles into one, and maybe that's why you're not as hyped. The other thing I thought of was simply, and this is going to happen with Dokkan depending on the release and depending on how excited and how hyped you are for certain characters, maybe this year's characters just don't do it for you. You know, it's not to say that the Z duo, the Jito duo are bad. Far from it. They are two of the best units in the game. Just like every anniversary. The anniversary units are two of the best units in the game. Without a doubt. And the same can be said for the G2 and Z duo. As I already said, the GT duo are the better unit, slightly, overall. And a lot of people really do underrate the Z duo. I'm not going to lie to you. But the GT duo and the Z duo are two of the best units in the game, hands down. Until we get, like, LRSSJ4 Goku for Tanabata, who will probably be the new best unit in the game. And then that still means the GT duo and the Z duo are two of the best units in the game. They're just not number one or number two. You know, so maybe the Z duo isn't as hyped for you. Maybe the GT duo isn't as hyped for you. Maybe because there's another SSJ4 Vegeta involved, maybe you're a bit like, oh, kind of the same, even though it's kind of like a year apart. So I'm like, eh. But I don't know, maybe to you that's too soon, even though we've kind of had that before. So I don't, that wouldn't make sense. But I don't know, maybe the Z duo is not hype for you. Maybe standby skills aren't that hype for you. Maybe you're like, yeah, okay, standby skills. Maybe that doesn't hit the same way revivals did for year 6. You know, and again, kind of comparing it to the 7-year anniversary, because that was the last anniversary to go off of, the most recent one, is kind of unfair to do again, because it's that novelty. And don't get me wrong, the 8th anniversary is still going to be hyped. There's still a lot to do. The anniversary is still sick. The animations are still great. But comparing it to the 7th anniversary just really isn't fair because of just how much of like a novelty like event the 7th anniversary was. But I don't know, I said maybe the Z duo isn't as hyped for you. Maybe the GT duo isn't that hyped for you. So maybe you don't have that excitement and that want for those type of units the same way you would have had for maybe the gods from last year. Maybe the SSJ4s, the Fusions Gogeta from last year. Maybe even as far back as year 6 for UI Goku. Maybe it's something as simple as that. But those are the main reasons that I can kind of think of. I said, I just wanted to kind of start a discussion again in the comments with this video, just kind of see where you guys are at. Are you excited for the anniversary? Are you not? Like, where are you sitting in terms of excitement levels? You know, and just let me know down in the comments how you're feeling about this anniversary and why. But those are also my personal reasons. I said, do let me know yours down in the comments. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a good rest of your day, and peace.